Hello and welcome. The topic today with the editorial of Hindu is calibrated balance. The topic is a bit complicated, but it has to be understood first. What is calibration? What is calibrated? See, calibration refers to scaling. Scaling means the marks you see on a scale on a thermometer or on a plastic scale to measure the length of anything, that is called calibration. Now here it says calibrated balance. What is a balance? See, one of the balances is the instrument with which you measure weight, but but sorry, but here it could be something else. And let us see what the subtopic says. Non-alignment as a policy must be rethought. Thought again. Non-alignment. What is non-alignment? Non-alignment refers to something related to not getting into a team or a party or a see very often 4 5 8 10 20 countries make a team for something, for economic growth, or say for military exercises, or for trade related agreements. They do it. And if they approach another country to be in the alliance, and he says, no, I am not ready to go with you, then that will be called non-alignment. I will not join the team that you have formed. This is non-alignment. So non-alignment as a policy must be rethought. It means at least there is some importance of alliance, getting into the team, not altogether rejecting the team is wise. This is what it says. But India must have to be India must be wary of alliance systems. Wary refers to the caution that must be there with the alliance. Now, what kind of caution is required if there is an alliance? If you join a team, what kind of caution you should have? Suppose the whole team takes a decision, and that decision is not palatable to you. You do not find it to your good taste. Even then, you'll have to join or work according to the team. This is a kind of compulsion, and your independent views get taken over by the views of the whole team. So India must be cautious of the alliance systems. Non-alignment is not altogether unworthy. It has some worth, but then alliance requires some caution as well. This is the balance which gets calibrated somehow, and how it is getting calibrated by India is to be seen in this passage. So let us go ahead with the passage. In separate statements this week, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar laid down India's world view, India's view on global activities that are being viewed that are being observed as on date in the face of global challenges. The face of global challenges, the challenge which each and every country is facing. One of I can we can cite one example, hot example, that is coronavirus pandemic is a global challenge, isn't it? So, in the face of global challenges, many of which pull it in different directions. Now it says that the External Affairs Minister is pointing to some of the global challenges, which is indicating different directions, different polarities, you can say, different issues which the whole world is facing. Uh, Not one or two issues. The issues are many. Mr. Jaishankar's contention was that non-alignment as a concept belonged to a bygone era. The time, uh, the the past. Bygone era refers to the past, and that multipolarity in the world necessitated that India would have to take a definite stand and even take risks on issues such as connectivity, maritime security, terrorism, and climate change. Now, this is a long sentence, and we should split it for getting the correct meaning. Mr. Jaishankar's contention was clear that non alignment, it means non alignment in its purity. 100% non alignment is something related to the past era, past time zone, and presently the necessary thing is to face the multipolarity. How he is explaining the multipolarity and what is multipolarity is to be seen. India, it says that India have to take a definite stand. It says that India must be clear cut on the issues. There could be multiple issues, and on each issue, it must have a definite stand. Even take risks on issues such as connectivity, maritime security, terrorism, and climate change. So, these are some of the issues like connectivity, road connectivity, getting the road built in areas where it is not available, maritime security, the security of the seas, of the oceans, that come to our territory or close to our territory proximity, territorial proximity, we can say. Terrorism, the different forms of terrorism that the country is facing, and the climate change, of course, it is there. The change in climate, sometimes flood, sometimes famine, and things like that. However, he made it clear that India does not reject non-alignment. Now it is somewhat of dilution. Earlier, India had a clear-cut non-alignment kind of thing. Now it is not totally rejecting this non-alignment. So clear that India does not reject non-alignment in its entirety, and that while it would no longer remain disentangled from difficult decisions, India is not willing to disengage from difficult decisions as well. It is ready to take on those or discuss on those difficult decisions. Now, what are difficult decisions is to be seen. Difficult decisions normally relate to the trade, to war, to some dispute, things like that. It would not compromise on its independence. So, overall, India is not ready to compromise on its independence. What is independence over here? The independence of implementing its own views and not depending or not following a team view uh, is is the thing which it addresses over here. More importantly, he said that India has never been part of an alliance system. Very correct. If India joins an alliance, he will have to follow the team views and he cannot have an independent view. So, here India wants to be independent uh, in, in independent by participating in difficult decisions also. So, this is the thing how information is coming out of this passage. Nor will it be. So, what it says, he said that, who said? He stands for the external minister Jaishankar. He said that India has never been part of an alliance system, nor will it ever be. So, uh, it is not at all ready to have alliance in its entirety. This is the message. He added that even the US must look beyond its present alliances. And this kind of advice to US that it should look beyond the present alliances it is having and engage with more multilateral arrangements. So, multilateral arrangements. Multilateral arrangements means it should design a separate arrangement for trade, a separate arrangement for international relation with neighbors, a separate relation for naval activities and things like that. Mr. Jaishankar explained that while non-alignment worked for India during Cold War era between US and Soviet Union, so this is an example that Mr. Jaishankar is quoting. It says that non-alignment worked greatly for India, for the peace of India during Cold War between US and Soviet Union. The fact that India and China share a land boundary would always be a factor in new Cold War between US and China. How does it come? There is a shared land boundary between India and China, and the US is getting involved in the new Cold War. How is that? So, let us understand it how it is explained ahead in the passage. He spoke of the Indo US cooperation in many fields and the growing maritime collaboration in particular. So, Mr. Jaishankar spoke of Indo-US cooperation. India and US are having some kind of alliance and they are cooperating in so many fields which includes sea or naval activities, collaboration in other areas, trades as well. But left unsaid, the hard reality that military collaboration on land would prove problematic given India's disputed boundary with China. This for this issue, for the dispute of the boundary, India is quiet and is not speaking to US for any kind of alliance. Of a nearly 3 month long standoff between the PLA and the Indian Army. Okay, the trouble. This is the trouble that is being quoted. And the standoff, 3 month long standoff between PLA and Indian Army at the border. Now, why is this being spoken of? India is quiet over collaboration with US in matters related to military activities although there is a dispute between India and China at the border, why India wants to handle it independently. This is what earlier it said. Earlier it said, where was that? India is ready to take risks. I think it was there. Yeah, it will take risks on issues. This is the risk India is ready to take. And India is accepting the risk and wants to have an independence over its actions. It doesn't want to depend on USA or doesn't want to be dictated by USA for military actions relating to any kind of dispute with China. Mr. Jaishankar's comments are a clear-eyed assessment of India's constraints and avenues for its potential growth. So uh, these are clear-cut assessment, and it says that Mr. Jaishankar, what Mr. Jaishankar foresees is that India has its own limitations and its own uh, paths or ways for growth, uh, and therefore uh, the policies require those things. The of India's strategic independence. What is strategic independence? Strategic refers to something which has long-term impact. So long-term independence and resistance to joining any alliance. This is also there. Resistance to once they join an alliance, the independence is gone. This is the thing. So this is being asserted by India. This is being asserted by India. And this assertion comes as a timely reminder amid speculation that tensions with China will push India into a stronger clinch with Washington. What does it say? It says that the rising tensions would put in India would put India into war with in uh, jointly with against China, jointly with Washington against China, which is on its own collision course with Beijing. The message is very clear. Washington is having its own collision course with China. India is also having some tensions, border tensions with China. USA wants India to be friend in the matter against China. India will lose its independence and will be guided or dictated by Washington in these matters. This is against the happy feelings of India. This is the message. And this is what India asserts, that once there is alliance, it will lose its independence. It is significant that despite multiple references by US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to the India-China clashes, the deaths of Indian soldiers at Galwan Valley last month, and his call for India and US to jointly counter China, the government has rightly chosen not to raise its tensions with China in any forum. What is forum? Platforms like UNO and things like that. China in any forum other than bilateral talks with Beijing. So the message is very clear that Mike Pompeo is showing all the time a kind of willingness to join and is inviting India to join hands with issues against China. But India has a clear view that it won't put the tensions which its tensions. India won't put its tensions to any forum, rather choose to have bilateral talks with China. Equally significant is government's outreach to Moscow, including visit by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and the participation of Mr. Jaishankar in Russia-India-China trilateral last month, and the External Affairs Minister's comment that India should also seek to build coalitions with middle powers such as European Union and Japan. So, uh, Defense Minister visited Moscow, had some talks. Then Mr. Jaishankar had a trilateral talks in which India, Russia, and China were involved, and the approach changed. The change was that India showed willingness to join hand with middle powers. Who are the middle powers? The European Union and Japan. The extreme power lies with US, middle power with European Unions and Japan. Why is that so? Because here India will have some kind of independence. A time of crisis often clarifies priorities. Now, crisis changes the priorities, and this is a proven fact, and this is being repeated in this sentence. If there is a crisis, the priorities change. At a time of a double crisis for India. Now, what is double crisis? The double crisis is that of coronavirus pandemic and the Chinese aggression. Both together make a double crisis. The message from New Delhi is one of a careful, calibrated balance. Now, here it says that there are two crises, one of pandemic and the other of Chinese aggression, and that has been carefully calibrated by Indian policy makers. So that has been calibrated. So this is how the topic is being explained by this passage. I have marked the keywords. You can go through and let me give you some examples. How easy. The topic is calibrated balance. Balance between what? Between non-alignment and alliance systems. This is the balance. India's worldview, global challenges, pull it in different directions. Non-alignment, bygone, multipolarity, definite stand. Risks, connectivity, maritime security, terror. Now, this is how you make a skeleton to answer the questions of a comprehension. You must get to the keywords and learn with the help of guidance I have shown. And with this, I close for today with a request to like it and subscribe it.